All right, welcome back everybody to Cool's Reviews. This is our part 3 of 6 look at the Chad Kalick films, the third part in the Sir No Face trilogy. And unfortunately for Sam and I, though we were planning to watch this a second time for a deep dive, we had to rewatch it again because the recording did not work out. So we had to re-record this, and now we're gonna have to watch it a third time when we do our deep dive, which is
It's
just
gonna be great.
it's just it was so painful to watch again. This one's weird, which I think is saying a lot considering what series we're watching and who it's by. But I know, like,
Okay.
while it was talking about Australia, I was like, well, we did make a new friend from Australia. Let me see if I can verify some information. And my suspicions were backed up. Certain things did not happen like shown in the the video, and I was like, "Oh, okay." I mean, we already know, and I forget now if it was during this one or the second one, when the Sydney Harbor people actually were able to get back to us, tell us Cockatoo Island was never closed, which was kind of easy to find. Luckily, there is YouTube in today's world, and quite a few people made travel vlogs. But this one picks up, I guess, pretty closely to where Two Face the Gray ended. Though both Chad, is that his name? Chad? Yeah, Chad
Yeah,
and
Chad
Craig.
Kalick.
Chad and Craig, right? Craig's the other guy.
Chad
No,
Kalick.
I knew I always got his name right, but I was really trying hard to pay attention to his name. It seems like they've definitely become super paranoid, which does not help in the fact that now they think all the black cars following them are the government. And I guess we'll just get into the story. It starts out Chad is being followed, he says, by this car. I think it was Mercedes or something, a black Mercedes. He's like, for 2 weeks. Once again, we only see the one footage of it. Who knows? I mean, Sam could go out and be like, I'm being followed by this deer for 2 weeks. When reality, he just saw the deer once. And
I mean,
then,
it's a little bit more accurate if I say I'm being followed by a deer because we see the same flock of deer repeatedly each day, so it's more believable. They come and eat our bird seeds out of our bird feeders, so
right,
that's that I can actually have multiple videos of.
right. And then, because there's not a lot in this one, that's a lot shorter than the first two, which is maybe for the best. I don't know. The other two had a lot being thrown at you, so at least it kind of kept you on your toes.
Hmm.
Especially when we go into our deep dive, we're going to have a lot of information to write down. And then it kind of picks up after that, going more into the Daniel David Skyfall person, which is really weird because obviously Skyfall's a James Bond movie. Daniel Craig is the actor who played James Bond, and there's both a Daniel and a David that worked on Skyfall. So the creativity of this guy's pseudonym not very good. But he goes in all these predictions, which aren't. I don't think you need to be Nostradamus to make some of these predictions. I think you could just look at how the world is going, and like Sam could be like, "Hey, New Orleans is going to be underwater one day," and people maybe in the future will be like, "Sam was Nostradamus," and Sam's like, "No, I just
Hmm.
research." I know he talks about how Trump was going to win his election, have 2 terms, which we know did not happen. So, strike. I did try to verify the bomb strike that was shown in this because it has a date on the videotape. I wasn't able to find anything, but this is not our deep dive, so I will continue looking. So hopefully by the deep dive, we can give you a better answer as far as this bomb they showed where they said Saudi Arabia was nuking Syria.
I don't think it was nuking. I think it was just more bombing it.
No, they said it was a nuclear weapon.
Did they? I remember
Hmm.
them talk about nuclear weapons with Russia and the United States, but I don't
Yeah,
remember anything about. I must have just missed that one because
it was like right at the beginning when they were showing like the home footage of the mushroom cloud.
that's when they were talking about Russia. How
No,
we
it was right
took off the.
before. Yeah, it was right before because then they talk about how Trump and backed out of the nuclear treaty, which again, I'm not sure. I'm not huge into politics as far as maybe I should be, but
Let us know in the comments if that's true.
yeah. If not, stay tuned because we're gonna be doing a deep dive, and then we'll let you know if it's true or not.
Yeah, we'll fact check ourselves on
We'll
this.
fact check ourselves, guys. Don't worry. It's what good researchers do. Um, and then what happens after that? They jump to Craig, his story, which picks up with the smiling people, which when we do our deep dive, we're totally going to try to test out that scenario and see how far people could get in 90 seconds, I think it was. It was a short amount of time. So we'll test it out, but the people are back and warning
Yeah,
him.
I will speed walk. We'll have to get a couple of people.
Yeah, we'll get different people, different ages, different how in
Well, I
shape they
mean,
are because
different ages.
we want to
Different
see how
ages.
good they can do this.
I don't know about different ages because they were like grown men, kind of.
Well, I just meant like maybe we'll get someone that's our age, or maybe someone that's like 40s or 50s to do it. You
Hmm.
know, we're just gonna try to test it out as best as possible. But he's talking about how they're back, threatening him, "Don't be doing this." He's really worried about when they mention his son's school, which obviously as a parent you would be. At the same time,
Hmm.
his kids are pictured in the documentary multiple times with their names and everything. So it's not like he's out
I
there.
don't remember them ever like mentioning where they go to school though.
No, but it's not like he's trying to hide their identities at the same time. Right after a situation where he said people are like, it's weird contradictions. As a parent myself, I don't put anything of my daughter on our channel because you got to be smart about that kind of stuff.
Pretty sure you have like a clip of her or a picture of her with us.
We'll have a picture, but I don't put any names or anything like that. Or
Oh,
just
fair.
have her sit down and do a full interview like they do at the end of this. Because then Craig, his wife calls Chad. It's getting very confusing because they have very similar names. His wife calls Chad because Craig is really freaked out. Again, he's acting paranoid. He's taking pictures at night of people across in a vacant lot, which I don't, it happens. We have random people in Castle Rock that hang out weird places.
I mean, true, but if they're like, if you recognize it and they're staring at your house, like I can kind of get it. Also, this was like released in 2020, which also, given that time, the paranoia of a lot of people were probably pretty high because I don't know if it resided long in that time or if that's just when they released it.
Like I said, when we do our deep dive, we're going to be diving into time frames because I think that's really important, especially when we go into the Sir No Face and Two Face the Gray timeline. Because I know they talk about a Blood Red Sky, which was Chad's second documentary, which we've watched now.
Mhm.
That one was it was another thing we did. Stay tuned. You'll see that one next week.
That one
Uh,
was actually pretty good.
I think it was better than these ones.
I mean, it was actually I can't really say that because it was. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that one. Just
I
now
have
that I thought about it, like the
that was
way
the
he
one.
did it was just like, like what are you trying to do to these people? But then also it's like I don't know.
That was also the one where like the thing came off the pew,
Hmm.
and it very easily could have been him.
I
And
mean, but they kind of tested that, but they didn't show it. I don't,
yeah,
if I remember correctly.
and
But
that's
you
that.
guys will find out
Yeah,
next
you'll
week.
find out. Not
Let's get back on topic here.
right. The reason she called was because supposedly he went to bed and he woke up in this vacant lot, the same lot that he says this picture is from. Now, if you listen to her interview, she said, "No, I checked all the locks, everything was fine, but you didn't notice your husband was missing, right?" Because then she said she had just fallen asleep when her son came and got her. So now we have some weird timelines going on where was he sleeping that she wouldn't have noticed him? Because she says she was just falling asleep when she got woken up. She also says she went and checked all the locks. But it's kind of weird. You wouldn't notice your husband was missing. And again, we're not
Well,
shown any of this. This is just things we're told. And I think
well, I
that's the
mean, I don't
biggest.
think they're recording themselves. Like, I don't have like a video camera on like my bed, so if I woke up, like if I went to bed or like thought I went to bed, or I mean, if I went to bed in my bed and like woke up outside, I'd just be like, "Fuck, what happened?"
What I'm saying is, I don't think this happened.
I don't know. I mean, that's that one. It's
Because,
we
again,
can't really
this.
say that it didn't happen because we don't really know, but like there is a chance of that happening because with some abductions it does happen to where like you start in one place and you end up in like a completely different place. So that could have potentially happened depending on like the whole scenario because like he could have fallen asleep next to her and then just got like abducted real quick and then was brought over there, and I don't think they knew what time frame it was too. So like I don't know, there's a lot of weird things with that. So I
Well,
won't say that I don't not believe it, but at the same time, I just there's not enough like information there for it to be like one way or the other.
I think there's enough slip up information. It's much like Two Face the Gray or Sir No Face, one of the two. But I think if you listen to it, it kind of gives it away. And I think that's more just because we're told this one story, which is one thing, right? If she was asleep, they both say go to sleep at 6, 7 o'clock at night, and this happens at 2 or 3 in the morning, right? That's one thing. And that's kind of where my mind was going. Okay, in the middle of the night, he just randomly wakes up. But then her story is she had just fallen asleep and her son wakes her up and he had been outside. Then she tells us she knows the doors were locked because she had gone around and checking it, which then just says, so if you just fell asleep, how did this happen?
I mean, I would assume like earlier, it was like an earlier thing where you go and check your doors. Like I've done that in my house where I go and check the doors. Like previously went outside and was just like, oh, did I lock that? But like that's just because I have the habit of doing that type of stuff. So it could have happened like a lot earlier. They just didn't put in that much information because you could tell that they like during those interviews there was probably a lot more conversation, but they cut out some of it to like add it in. Or like that was on Chad's end where he was cutting out stuff
Yeah, but
because there's multiple times where they would like were talking and then there was like a cut there or something.
yeah, because they might say something that would screw up the story, I think.
I mean, maybe, or it's just he obviously doesn't make like really super long films, so he was just probably cutting down on like the information or like some of the stuff.
No,
But
her
like
his
we
other
do, we
two,
cut out stuff.
his other two were like 2 to 3 times the length of this one.
True, but I think he had like a more I don't know. Like I said,
I'm
I
just
don't know,
saying,
man.
especially now that we have boots on the ground in Australia and we're knowing some of the events that are said to have happened didn't, which
Hmm.
for us in America may never be able to verify. Luckily, though, we do have our sources so we can verify. And I think that'll be
Yeah, didn't
interesting
you
when
actually reach out to the island?
I reached out to the island and I've reached out to people that I know in Australia and I was like, hey, we're watching this. Um, Not sure why we want to punish ourselves, but did this happen? And the answer was no. So I was like, okay, that's all I need. And then Chad talks about a time he was shot at. Granted, even he in the film says he might not have been who they were shooting at. And I think he lives in LA, so it's not like the middle of nowhere, and there is a lot of crime in LA. So it's not out of the ordinary, but when someone's thinking they're being followed because he says like somebody hacks his TV, which he says they have to be right up close. And we have a smart TV. We're gonna test that for our deep dive. He says that his car alarm's going off, which my car alarm's gone off here. I don't think anyone's following me. But the video at the same time when I was watching it, I was like, because it's really grainy, but I don't think it's natural grain. Like, I think the graininess has been added on. And I think that I've only noticed that because since we started this, we have a new editing system where you can get some of these effects. And I think that's what it might be. We're not sure. We can't say. That's just a theory.
Could
Again,
just be what he's using.
it looks very added on. And I don't know if that's just because I've edited a lot. But Chad, if you listen, we just want to talk. We say this, everyone. Come on, join us. Cool's interviews. We just want to hear your side of the story. I think it would help clarify a lot of things. This is still, I think, my least favorite one. I know American Ghost Hunter was a tough one, having just rewatched the edit of us watching that one. That one was tough to get through, but I definitely think this is the worst one that he's done. The worst of the trilogy as well. And even the Sir No Face footage does not look like the same Sir No Face footage from the first film. It's something we're going to compare, but it definitely looks like eyes have been are easier to see in this one, which is again why is it much easier to see now or more definitive now when before it was kind of see through. We'll find out. We'll put him all up. We'll watch him side by side and figure out in our deep dive. Just little things I was jotting down as I watched it. Um, Unlike the other films we've watched from Chad, there is no new footage here as far as any evidence. It's all just stories and stock footage or interviews. A lot of Trump in here, a lot of news, and a lot of just current event stock footage. I don't know, Sam. I'll let you talk since I've gone on for a bit.
And lots of conspiracy theories, too. Oh, wait, no, that was the last one, wasn't it? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure there was some in here.
There was some in here. I know one of his was like super heavy conspiracies. Some I don't know. This one is just so hard to watch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was Two Face the Gray that was super heavy conspiracy theories. This one kind of continued it a little bit, but then just added in like a super paranoia side of it.
Oh, extreme paranoia. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's the footage of when Chad said the TV. It's supposed to be the same night. I don't know if it is or not, but it's supposed to be the same night that the TV was hacked. And he's outside his apartment building showing the where it was showing on the TV. And his eyes look like bloodshot. So I mean, I don't know. Definitely could be
I mean,
paranoia.
paranoia, lack of sleep. Yeah, and then he comes across like the black Mercedes with like tinted windows that's been following him.
He says it's the black Mercedes. We'll see how much we can verify. But again, that'd
Hmm.
be like, see, if I was making something like this in Colorado, I'd just be like, it's a silver Subaru. And then I'd start seeing the silver Subarus everywhere. And they're always following me, right? So
That is
maybe,
fair.
yeah, so I don't know. If you're thinking people are following you and you see a similar looking car, you're going to think it's the same car.
Mm-hmm.
It's not our deep dive, so I'm not going to get like, especially because it's super short. Sam, how was your second viewing of this film?
I mean, it was interesting. Like there was lots of things that I picked up on that I think I either overlooked or was just not focused on the first time. So there was a little bit other things. I don't know. There's certain more intriguing things that I was just like, huh, I must have missed that last time. And then things that were just like, okay, I could. I don't know. It was just like a more fresher perspective because I didn't just watch the first two and then came to this one. So I had time in between them, and now like rewatching it, I'm not just like, oh, this is where are we going today, and it's just like rewatching it was actually Not nearly as bad. I mean, it was still bad, but like it wasn't like I could. There was other things that I could pick up on that I didn't notice the first time. To kind of just like say that multiple times.
Yeah, I mean, there's parts where they say the same line over and over and over again. It's one of
Yeah, they repeat it.
yeah, that's one of his like go-to editing styles in this one. He also chooses to show a good chunk of the opening as like a graphic novel style, which was really odd. And again, it bugged me. I know it bugged me the first time we watched it.
Hmm. Well, I mean, you enjoy it because it had a bunch of tall buildings in it. Don't lie.
I mean, I heard a little bit. We do see the U.S. Bank Tower in L.A., Sydney Harbor Tower, which in was that supposed to be real? Like the newscast of it being like attacked? Because obviously the bridge did not fall. So,
I don't know.
because then
Hard to
there's also
say.
like footage of what looks like a NASA space shuttle, which has been decommissioned, obviously for a while in reality. But in the video, it shows it like all broken up, like it was attacked or something.
Well, I think it. Well, it looked like it got damaged in space. It was
But
floating
there's,
around in space, but I'm not really sure about that. That's
but
just the
I,
way it like it looked and appeared.
yeah, and I feel like this was taken from like a movie.
I mean, it's very possible because like a lot of those clips were like old news clips or slash movie snippets.
Yeah, like I almost want to rewatch Godzilla Final Wars because I know the Sydney Harbor Tower gets attacked in that. And I'm like, I wonder if that's where that was from, but I don't know.
It's possible.
Not a lot happens. It feels like still it should have been a bonus feature on the second one. Even though we don't see any actual evidence of him talking to Daniel David Skyfall or David Daniel, whatever it is, Skyfall. Uh, we do see at the end he's having communication, is what it says, though it's more just in posts where he adds in what was being said. We don't actually see the physical message, and it's all like
I
played
mean,
up super sad music. Is he gonna do anything? And Chad's like, I think I have to be done. And then at the end, to be continued. So, I mean, there's your hook. He's not stopping. Watching the American Ghost Hunter review that we did, you said it seems like this one is starting the opposite way of the Sir No Face one, where maybe Chad always wanted to talk about aliens because he starts kind of showing aliens and then goes ghosts. And you were
yeah.
like, maybe that's what was like. I don't know, because it's such a weird story, guys. I don't know. We'll go into a deep dive. Personally, for me, 1 out of 10. Still, it did not get better.
I will admit the part with the phone call or like his argument being recorded is kind of weird because I don't know. I don't think my phone records my conversations, but it's very well that it could have. But the fact that that recorded that is kind of strange.
But again, we're just going off his word that it was actually his phone. See, for me, a good way to show it was recorded by your phone is to record your phone playing it. And then obviously you're going to want to high def it, but at least you'd open it up being like, here's my phone. This is the recording. Listen to it. And then you can upload the higher quality one after it.
True.
I,
Or have the high quality one over him just being like, hey, I'm gonna like up the audio for this, but like here's the video of me recording it or something like that.
yeah. Again, for me, especially with this one, there's a lot of showing or a lot of telling, not showing. A lot of like, this is what happened. You got to take our word. We don't have any evidence for it. Which
Reminds me of
obviously,
another guy that we watched does the same thing.
no, do not put Chad and Jeremy Corbell in the same. Jeremy is a
They're
better
the same.
director. I am
They're the
convinced now.
same.
I am convinced.
They're insane.
Jeremy is a better director after watching this for a second time. Also knowing that I'm gonna have to watch it for a third time.
They're the same.
No, because Jeremy, again, we'll say, very, very passionate. Not saying he's Stanley Kubrick or anything like that. But I feel like he's open with how he actually feels. Where just watching again, it doesn't seem sincere. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I've watched all the other ones and knowing a lot of the other stuff is tainting how I see it. But
He seems to be sincere about it, but like it could just be acting too.
and
Whereas
again,
Jeremy is not the greatest actor, and so it's kind of obvious when he's not being sincere.
but this has a very Jeremy-esque scene. I actually thought of that at the
No, it
end.
does.
At the end, when he's just like, will I continue?" And he's like looking all, and then he just like looks up all serious, and it's just like to be continued. And I was like, yeah, that's bullshit. It's free on Tubi,
True.
guys. So don't if you want to watch it that way. That's how I
True.
recommend
It
watching
is.
them.
It is free. I think all three of them are free there too.
I think
You could do the whole trilogy.
I think all the films outside of A Blood Red Sky we watched on Tubi. I think we did
Pretty sure
watch
we
a blood.
watched.
I think we did it
Pretty sure
on
we watched.
YouTube because I know when we were doing our American Ghost Hunter one, we were talking how we realized 74 Minutes was out because it was free on Tubi, which we had watched it early 2023. We're coming back to it now just because it's Halloween time. We wanted to give you guys something paranormal. Unfortunately, not the best paranormal one we could have given you, but we wanted to see this project through. We wanted to watch all of them and then do a ranking of all of Chad's films.
This is true. So we're gonna have to watch like basically all of them again. Or
We
no?
already did the ranking.
Did we?
Yep, you gave a surprising number one. I know when we watched it the first time, I felt
It was
very
not much fun.
accomplished that we watched the entire series and that he tied it all in together at the end. To his credit, he finally brought up Ryan Buell and mentioned where he got his start, Paranormal State, in 74 Minutes. Because we were wondering about that, because he talks about Blood Red Sky, but he very, very rarely mentioned. I don't know if he even mentioned Ryan Buell once after American Ghost Hunter. Obviously, there's some stuff that happened. So when we went into 74 Minutes, we're like, it's supposed to be his best ghost footage of all time. I'm sure he's got to mention him at some point, and he does. He did leave out the part where it looks like he's interviewing a 2x4 in American Ghost Hunter, which I know me and Sam got a chuckle out of, where he's just like interviewing a 2x4. I mean, clearly he wasn't interviewing it, but how they framed the shot made him
Yeah,
look
how
like
they
he was
filmed it.
talking it.
Yeah, that was a pretty decent one in that one.
Though Sam did say that made him feel very sick, so
It did. It was very, very, very motion blurry.
especially at that beginning portion, which
Hmm
is like, what are you doing? Are you like, even I
And like
was like,
it was like motion blurry, and there was like lots of lights, if I'm recalling correctly. Like it
yeah, it
was
was
very
black and white.
flashy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
black
it
and
was
white
very like
lights.
flashy constantly, and it was just like, oof. Like I go to concerts and the colored lights don't hurt me this bad.
Right. Yeah, if you guys want us to do a deep dive on that one too, we will.
Mm-mm.
Sam doesn't want to, but we will if you guys recommend it.
No, don't do that.
I doubt you guys are going to, but maybe after we do our trilogy of Sir No Face, you guys will be like, those guys did such a good job. I want to see Sam deep dive this opening scene frame by frame. And then we'll just be like, look at this portion. He's talking to the 2x4. Favorite part. 10
Right,
out of 10 right there.
10
10.
out of 10.
So is this still your second lowest rated one?
Second most rated.
Yeah, because you had this ranked above um, American Ghost Hunter, but that was it when we did our original ranking.
Oh yeah, no, this this one is still better than American Ghost Hunter.
And it's still worse than all your others.
Oh yeah.
There you have it. Sam very rarely gives out bad grades, but he was like, no, 1 out of 10 for the American Ghost Hunter. So now you know it's at least better than American Ghost Hunter. Whether
Definitely.
that's saying a ton, I don't know.
I mean, I
Sam,
don't remember what I ranked it, but I'll probably rank it probably a 3 out of 10.
so do you recommend people watch this?
I mean,
Would
you
you make
could.
would you make someone sit through 3 of these?
I, I mean, this all started with our cousin suggesting us one of them, and then we sat through all 3 of them. So I mean,
We gotta
kind of,
ask Nick. We
it's
gotta
kind
ask.
of at the, it's kind of at that one where you're just like, you watch it and you want to watch all of them just to just see them, and then you're just like, well, that was not worth it, but I did it. I mean, if you want to watch the trilogy, I would should just suggest to do it. But if you
We gotta
don't, then I wouldn't.
Yeah, we gotta see if he
Has watched it,
has watched the other two. Well, I'll make sure in the Facebook chat right after this. Hey Nick, did you watch the other two Sir No Face ones?
right?
Because yeah, I mean, I could see how if you only watch the second one, it could be confusing on what it seemed more realistic on what it was saying. But I think when you watch all three together, I think that's where it starts to, especially when you watch the whole entire filmography, that's where maybe it starts. Okay, let's rein this down a little bit. And it's kind of weird because it did kind of also start from your neighbor, who, when we met, talking about one of our investigation leads up in Monument, which I don't think we ever released any footage for that one because we didn't find anything. But we had done an investigation last year up in Monument, and Sam's neighbor somehow found us and then has been recommending us to people, which is really cool. Please keep doing it. But she said to watch Sir No Face because it was like the first verified ghost footage ever. And so it's kind of weird how we had two different people recommend the trilogy, not knowing it was a trilogy.
Yep, it was basically Destiny, so that's why we've gone as deep as we have with this, and then we did all of his videos for some reason. Like,
Well,
I
then
don't know
after
what's
this, I
up with
think we
that.
did Jeremy's. Yeah, because like I said,
Mm,
we've
I
recorded
think we're in the
this.
process of Jeremy's. I don't think we've finished all of his yet.
No, I think we did because I think with Nick we were doing um Stephen Greer's second one. That's going to be a deep dive as well.
True. I don't
So
remember doing Jeremy's.
I
I remember
we
Chad's.
only
I don't remember Jeremy's. What does that tell you?
well Jeremy only had one more to do. We had done his well before two of his because we did Skinwalker and then the Bob Lazar one.
Oh,
Well
bizarre.
well before this. Mainly because we found those on YouTube doing other people doing reviews and we're like, we got to check that out. Which Jeremy
Oh, the
too, if you're
last one
listening.
was Patient 17 or something. Or
Yeah, that was it. Patient 17.
okay,
What
I do remember doing that one. That one was quite interesting.
Yeah, so as you can tell, we've talked about a lot that wasn't this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like Sam said, we have done all of Chad's, so stay tuned. We have two more to release after this, because obviously up to this point we've done Sir No Face, Two Face, The Great American Ghost Hunter live, as well as this one, and then we'll be doing A Blood Red Sky next as well, following up with 74 minutes, and then the final ranking, so you guys can actually see what we pick,
Mm-hmm.
which is a chore. But we did
Which
it
is
because
fascinating.
we wanted to be complete. We wanted to help because there's really not a lot of reviews of these, and like we've talked about, these are on Tubi now. These are on other streaming services. So we want to make sure if people watch it, they have some background, and that's why we really want to do our deep dive so that
Mm-hmm.
people don't just go into this blindly and be like, "Oh yeah, it's all true" or "It's all not true." We want to try to give you the facts and let you make your own conclusions with what we find.
Right.
So, do I recommend it? if you watch the other two, I guess it's the only way I'd recommend it. I don't know if I could recommend this series. I know I've shown the Sir No Face footage to different people, and they've just laughed at it. So I don't know if that's. I don't know. We'll get to it. But yeah, that's our final review of an hour movie. We have talked almost as long as the entire movie, and we've talked mainly about other movies at this point.
True. This is very, very valid.
Well, Sam, any final thoughts before we inevitably go into the deep dive?
Final thoughts is gonna be kind of glad when we're done with this.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find another one. It's almost
I
like we
mean,
could just watch Project Blue Book and watch something good.
right? I'd rather watch Project Blue Book.
Oh, me too. Well, and see, that's one thing I forgot. He mentions, well, they want to kill us because they're the only people talking about the fake alien invasion, right? Whether you believe Stephen Greer or not, he's been saying that for a while. There's been other whistleblowers saying the fake alien invasion. Project Blue Book talked about it. They ain't the only two. You know, it's almost like he. I don't know. I don't want to say nothing, but you're not the only two. That's all I'm gonna say.
True.
That's our take 2 of Phantom Rider. Did not change my mind this time. We'll see the third time. We got one more try, so we're maybe third time's a charm. We'll find out. We're gonna be doing a couple more of these, so stay tuned. Right now, if you hit Cool's review link on the left side of your screen, though, it actually will be another Chad film. I almost was gonna be like, it won't be another Chad film, but it will be. It'll be American Ghost Hunter. But if you keep going far enough, it won't be. There's other. We've done 75 of them, so there's a lot more than his 6.
This is very true.
Yeah, we're getting ready for some more deep dives, so stay tuned. We'll be doing some movies, National Treasure and Django Unchained, both with special guests. As usual, anytime we do deep dives, we usually do it with special guests. We'll see who we trap into doing the Sir No Face one with us. I know Matt's going to be on board with that. We'll see who else we can get.
It's probably gonna be Nick since he was the one that bring us into it.
Just
We'll
like
just
Nick,
tell
you
him.
started it. You got to finish it now.
Yep. Well, you started this theory now. Now you got to be here
You got to finish it
for
with us.
right.
But if you want to see more about what we're doing here at Cool's Paranormal, click that link to your right. We have lots of cool stuff coming up this month. We just recorded an awesome collaboration with a bunch of different guests for a sci-fi super show-ish. We did talk a lot about recent events and trying to get their takes on it since they're in the field. Some of them experienced stuff, and you know, we just want to see how they felt about it. So I think you guys will enjoy that. We do have some of our events coming up where we'll do presentations and investigations at other locations. So check those out. It'll appear on your right hand side. Until next time, though, don't forget to hit that like and give us a subscribe.
Subscribe and switch that notification bell from personalized to all if you want to be notified on all of our upcoming videos.
And let us know, have you watched the Sir No Face trilogy? And if so, what are your thoughts? And do you have a guest in mind from our channel's past that you want us to bring on to watch this? Tell us in the comments below.